Hi everyone, welcome to Julia's Trucker Cafe Trucking News Hour. Thank you so much for joining me today. I greatly appreciate it. Also, decided to hop on here and get this show going. It's been a heck of a week, so I'm trying to. Here's a mess and a wreck and everything else. But it is what it is, as they say. I don't know what the heck that means, but since I'm such old school, but as I do everything myself, I'm trying to get this out. Had a day off today, so I'm trying, people. Thank you so much. And let's get to the news. In our first story, a truck driver is sentenced to prison for using gas to burn an employer's truck at an Omaha airport. Truck driver, my hair is just all over the place. Truck driver is facing years in federal prison for taking and burning a semi-truck owned by his former employer. A Florida-based truck driver, Kevin Cady, and he's 27, was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison and 3 years of supervised release for malicious use of explosive materials, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Nebraska. He was also ordered to pay $59,353 in restitution. Officials say that back March of last year, he was working as a truck driver for Prime when he disconnected his vehicle's tracking devices so his employer could no longer track the truck. He then parked the truck in the south cell phone parking lot of Epley Field in Omaha, Nebraska. On the 31st of March, surveillance video showed him renting a car at the airfield terminal and driving it back to the truck in the lot. Officials say he's seen on video unloading items from the truck into the rental car, then driving off. Minutes later, smoke is seen coming from the parked truck, triggering a response from firefighters who eventually knocked down the vehicle blaze. Authorities discovered a red plastic gas container inside the cab of the semi-truck, along with an incendiary device indicating that the fire was in fact intentional. The case was investigated by the ATF and explosives of the city of Omaha and the fire investigation unit. So yeah, that's a felony. That's a federal offense to use something to burn down a truck. So, and I work for Prime. Let's just say there's a lot better companies out there. As if you spent any time out on the highway, you know this. And hopefully y'all can hear me. I'm using a different microphone, so you won't be able to hear all the background noises of my my furry four-legged office assistants giving me grief in the background. And up next, 16 bagpipers are hospitalized after a bus smashes into a flatbed loaded with pipes parked at a truck stop. 16 bagpipers, people who play bagpipes, were hospitalized after the bus they were riding crashed into a flatbed trailer hauling steel pipes. This occurred in Pennsylvania on Mount Cobb Road in Jefferson Township. According to the local news, the school bus was transporting a music group of bagpipers when it crashed into an Envoy truck stop parking lot. The bus struck a parked flatbed tractor trailer and came to a rest on top of its load of pipes. Some of the pipes appeared to have been pushed into the sleeper of the cab of the truck. 16 people were then transported to the hospital, and one person was entrapped as a result of the crash. A total of 21 people were involved in this wreck. The extent of the injuries is not clear. It's not clear if the truck driver was hurt in the accident. Pennsylvania State Police is still investigating what led up to the crash And at the time of the writing of the article, no further information was released. I'm looking up in the air because my one cat likes to go up on top of my desk and eat the other cat's food. Excuse me a second. Pretty snazzy that I'm back. And up next, the truckers found deceased at I-70 waste station in Indiana. As the article pulls up, Indiana State Police are investigating after a semi-truck driver was found deceased in his vehicle parked at the waste station in Vigo County. Troopers were dispatched to a waste station on I-70 near the Illinois-Indiana state line to perform a welfare check requested by the trucking company after the company was unable to make contact with the driver. Troopers were also unable to get a response when they knocked on the driver's door. The state police assessed the truck and discovered a male has passed away inside. No sign of foul play or self-harm at the point of the investigation. Truck driver was later identified as Ernest N. Rhodes, 52, of Fordland, Missouri. And is supposed to have had an autopsy done on him. Our sincere condolences go out to the family of that driver. An employee in this story is charged with the murder of Illinois Trucking Company CEO. An Arizona man has been charged in connection with the death of his employer in Crestwood, Illinois. Scottsdale resident Yosef Sukla, 52, was charged with first-degree murder in the death of Dane Koletsky, according to Crestwood Police Department. The police department and firefighters responded to a truckload facilities located in Crestwood for a structure fire. After the fire, was put out, authorities discovered the body of a male on the second floor of the building amid the heavy smoke. He was identified as Koletsky, the CEO of ATG Truckload. Investigators launched death and arson investigations that they say pointed towards Sukla, who was an employee. Police were able to track Sukla to a truck stop in Holland, Michigan. He was arrested at the truck stop, and they also said the cause of death was homicide resulting from injuries to the victim's neck caused by a sharp or pointed object. He was extradited from Michigan to Illinois and awaiting trial. And in this story, a driver was on CNSdepressants during the 17-car pileup that killed 5 in Austin. Remember my last episode, episode 144, I spoke about this 17-car pileup that happened in Austin, Texas. Truck driver in a fatal crash that left 5 people dead was on central nervous system CNSdepressants at the time of the accident. It happened in a construction zone on I-35 in Austin, Texas. 37-year-old, I have no idea how to pronounce his name, is facing multiple counts of intoxication, manslaughter, and assault for the crash that killed 5, killing 2 young children and injuring 11 more people. 4 of the 5 people killed were a vehicle described as an unrecognizable crumpled mess. A detective and a member of the impaired driving investigation unit determined that he was impaired by central nervous system depressants at the time of the wreck. These drugs are known to, quote, slow down signals sent between the brain and the body, end quote, and are often used to treat insomnia or panic disorders. He was observed with droopy eyes. He was slow and sluggish in movements, and relaxed and drowsy demeanor at the time of the crash. His vital signs also pointed to someone who was unusually calm for someone who just involved in a massive fatal accident. His heart rate and blood pressure were on the lower end of the normal range at the time they were taken. Quote, normally a person involved in a collision would experience psychological or physiological, conditions such as elevated heart rate, increased blood pressure, especially in a collision of this magnitude, said the affidavit, end quote. During the investigation, the person told police that his brakes failed, but the inspectors found no evidence of mechanical issues on the truck. He has a record of hours of service and moving violations prior to the crash. And the National Transportation Safety Board has opened an investigation into this crash. And in this story, 2 are killed on I-40 in Arizona pileup, identified after the wreck burns for 20 hours. This is also our top story. As you can see here, all of this by the trees, that's all burned vehicles. You could see in the photo. 2 people killed in a snowy pileup that burned for over 20 hours have been identified by investigators. The massive crash happened back in March on westbound Interstate 40 near Williams, Arizona. 2 victims of the crash were identified as Juan Beltran and Evelyn Davis. According to Arizona Family, the wreck started with a jackknife semi-truck on the ice and snow-covered interstate. That truck then blocked I-40, causing multiple semi-trucks and passenger cars to crash into it, which then sparked a fire. The fire then burned through the pileup up for 20 hours as crews worked to quench the blaze and clear the scene. A total of 22 vehicles and 36 people were involved in that collision. The incident is still under investigation at the time of the writing of the article, and the freeway is being evaluated for damage. Investigation is active and will take time to complete due to the number of vehicles involved and also how many people were involved and by the extensive fire damage. Sorry, I keep playing with my hair. I'm old school. I don't like anything hanging in my face. My hair is so fine that it just keeps falling over my eyes. So, sorry. And let's see what next we have up. A sedan is crunched by a flatbedder in a double red light runner crash. So 2 people ran a red light and yeah, the car lost. A sedan seriously lost in a double red light runner crash involving a flatbed. The accident happened in Alabama, in Tuscaloosa. A flatbedder with small load runs a red light and smacks straight into a sedan who also ran their own red light. Excuse me. The video, this is on video, shows a crunched sedan on a grassy median with the motorist being treated by EMS. We're not sure what happened after that, but hopefully each double red light runner learned their lesson. So the semi ran the red light, the car runs the red light, and they meet in the middle. Pretty much. And still no statement. If you remember last episode or 2, the cop in Jacksonville that was off duty, that shot at a truck driver, still never gave a statement about what the heck happened. Just a second. I'm pulling the articles off of my tablet, so that's why, there again, you'll understand that. That's why I'm looking up and down. Still no statement from the undercover cop. That was not on assignment. He did not have a body cam. Who shot at a driver that was in his 70s. Jacksonville Sheriff's Office has said there is still no statement and no body cam footage to release from the incident involving an undercover officer and a truck driver that was in his 70s. The shooting happened back in March during rush hour when a semi-truck and an off-duty undercover officer in an unmarked car, they came in contact with each other for unknown reasons. The officer fired multiple shots at the driver. The truck driver was not hurt, but the officer was left with a shoulder injury. Doesn't say which shoulder. The officer still has not come forward with a statement about the incident, was not wearing a body cam at the time because of his current assignment. Quote, we're still looking into the details of what happened. We're still waiting to hear from the officer who has the opportunity to decide whether he or not wants to make a statement. He needs to make a statement, in my opinion. Why are you taking a gun out at a truck driver for? Did the truck driver know you're an undercover cop? Did the truck driver know that you were on assignment? You were in an unmarked car. Unmarked, you could have been a private citizen. You scared the guy. I'm surprised you didn't have a heart attack. Scared the bejeebies out of him. Because he's in his 70s. And because he starts shooting at him. So what did you do aggressively to even make this altercation happen? Were you blowing his horn? Were you coming into his lane? Were you not watching what the heck you were doing? What were you doing, officer? And you were off duty. So what were you doing? It takes two to tango, dude. How about a statement? So and then the sheriff's office says, when legally able, they'll further brief the public on this matter. I think they're trying to cover up for their damn one of their own, is what I think. But, I'm just a female. What the heck do I know, right? On to the next. Had enough of that story. As soon as I get the right one. And there's a $7,000 reward offered for information on a truck driver found shot beside a semi at a Texas truck stop. Authorities have increased the cash reward for information on a truck driver found shot near his semi-truck in Midland, Texas. Now, this happened last year. He's 26 years old. His name is Austin Wynn. And it was a homicide. Police believe that Wynn was murdered around May 12th of 2024. So it's coming close to a year ago that this happened. He was in the 10,400 block west of Interstate 20 in Midland, Texas. When officers arrived on the scene, Wynn was found lying deceased from a gunshot wound on the ground next to his truck. Wynn was a third-generation livestock hauler from Oklahoma who was hauling horses at the time of his death. If you happen to have any information, please contact the Midland County Sheriff's Office or call 432-694-TIPS. That's 432-694-TIPS. Or you could use a mobile app P3-TIPS. Or you could go to 694tips.com. That's 694tips.com. Excuse me. I know, that was gross. Sorry. And this driver turns himself in after negligent homicide false statement charges that killed a truck driver in roadside pond. A driver turned himself in after a warrant was issued for his arrest for a 2024 wreck that left another truck driver dead. The accident happened back last year on February 29th on Interstate 84 near exit 72 in Union, Connecticut. The accused truck driver, 33-year-old James Desereau, was arrested back in March 13th. According to the local news, Desereau's semi crossed into the right lane from the center lane, causing a collision with another semi driven by Carlos Vega. Vega then veered off the roadway and into a nearby Maury Pond, where his cab became submerged. Desereau's semi also veered into the pond and became partially submerged, but he was able to escape the cab on his own. When officers arrived on the scene, they found Desereau standing on the right shoulder of the highway. Vega was extricated from his submerged cab and was pronounced dead at the scene. Desereau told police that Vega had lost control of his truck and hit him first, but police reviewed dash cam footage from both semi-trucks and determined that Desereau's semi crossed into Vega's lane first, giving officers probable cause to issue the warrant for his arrest. Desereau turned himself in and was taken into custody. He's been charged with negligent homicide with a motor vehicle, failure to maintain a lane, and providing a false statement. Yeah, that definitely has some time when you do all that. Dum, dum, dum. And here, a big rig catches fire at a way station entrance. Minnesota State Patrol responded to a truck fire at a way station near Moorhead. It was on eastbound I-94 in Moorhead, Minnesota. Grabo said that a semi-truck caught fire at the entrance of the Red River Way Scale. No injuries were reported. The cause of the truck fire was under investigation by the Moorhead Fire Department. Looks like it's under the hood, and then it goes into the cab. That's what it looks like to me. I've seen plenty of them in my day. So it could be electrical, it could be usually diesel, as a lower burning point, lower flash point, I guess you call it, than gasoline because of the wax that's in it to keep it like lubrication in the motor. So it'd be more of a electrical fire than it would be more of like a combustion kind of a fire. My personal opinion. And this guy drained at least $500,000 from a trucking company after being given access to their bank accounts and financial records. Can we say dumb, da-dum, dumb? Why would you do that? Why would you give him access? A former truck driver and business partner to former NFL linebacker allegedly drained their trucking company of resources by consistently transferring funds to himself. According to Shaquille Dixon, we pronounce it, I think, right, been accused of diverting funds from the account of Good Run Logistics to his personal accounts from February of 2023 through June of 2024. Dixon allegedly drained the company of at least $500,000. The Charlotte, North Carolina trucking company was founded by ex-Carolina Panthers linebacker Shaq Thompson. Excuse me, any Carolina fans. According to Queen City News, Dixon was hired by Good Run Logistics due to his trucking experience, was given access to the company's bank accounts and financial records. He then used that information to transfer company funds to his own account under labels such as owner draws or transfers to review in an attempt to disguise the transactions. Dixon allegedly acted as owner of the company in several circumstances and even convinced the company's actual owner to add more money to the company accounts. This money eventually ended up in Dixon's personal accounts, reported by the local news. Now he's facing federal wire fraud charges and is booked, but he did post bond back in March. I mean, you know, I'm sorry. I just can't do that. And this day in trucking history, what do we have here? Qualcomm was introduced as the first electronic logging device, initially used by Werner Trucking back in the day. So Werner Trucking was the first one to C.L. Werner was the first one, hang on, to do the electronic logging device, or ELD. Let's see. One second. Back in the day, the first in history was an automatic onboard recording device that made its appearance in 1988. Then came the paper logs, or electronic onboard recorders, EOBR. They were used for hours of service tracking. While recorder logs improved the accuracy of the data, the lack of consistent data format meant that the logs needed to be regenerated to an equivalent paper format for review and enforcement. The record of duty status, back in them days, definition within the ELD legislation provides a consistent format for enforcement personnel to review, so the ELD mandate was then created. The FMCSA, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, announced the final rule of the ELD mandate and ELD regulations being implemented in several phases with a compliance date of December 18th, 2017. Fleets already equipped with loggers or recorders had until December 2019 to ensure compliance with this public specifications. Before the final rule of the ELD mandate was announced, fleets used the automatic onboard device, a much simpler version of the ELD that did not provide fleets with many of the features that are known. It started in 2000, early 2000. You were also able to, I had a chauffeur's license. I started in 1988 and I had a chauffeur's license. And then you grandfathered in to the, or could grandfather in to the ELD or your CDL. And I'm sorry, but anyways, kind of mixing things up here. Sorry about that. I'm going CDL and I'm going ELD, so my acronyms are getting all confused. Sorry. But anyways, from what I understand, rumor has it that C.L. Werner was so in debt to the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, and I don't want to get in trouble for saying this, but this is rumor, hypothetically, allegedly, that he was in so much trouble with the FMCSA for his trucks being over on hours and all kinds of violations, that they said, in order for you to get out of all these violations, we're going to start a pilot program with your company. Hence, Qualcomm was introduced. And he started putting it in all of his trucks. If you were been a driver as long as I have, you remember seeing it. on the back of the trucks this big sign that said, hey, come drive for us. We got paperless logs. You don't have to worry about logging anymore. You don't have to worry about trying to figure out where you are and trying to run a paper log and everything. It was all a big act to get these Qualcomms into production into all the trucks, and it worked because now it's federal. You have, there's no more, and they guys go back to prior 2000 trucks and everything, so they could run paper, agriculture, and horses and cows and this kind of thing still run paper, I believe, but I would say 85% of the trucks, 85 to 90% of the trucks out on the road has this electronic logging device in the cab of the truck. And it's like an egg timer. It's like sitting on an egg timer. You start your day, you got 10 hours to finish your day. You got 14-hour total day. But that's with fueling. That's with doing your inspection. That's with pre-trip and post-trip inspection. Making sure everything works. That's with taking your 30-minute break. You have a total of 14 hours. And then you have to go to bed for 10 hours. Well, then you can't start your day until that 10 hours is up. So that's where I call it sitting on an egg timer. That it tells you when you can punch back in. And I'm retired now from over the road. I run a local job where I don't have to do any of that. But at the same time, now I'm punching a clock that I can't punch in any earlier than 6, 5 minutes till, and then, I have 12-hour shifts now. So I'm working harder now than I did when I was driving over the road. So this is our day in trucking history. Now let's get back to the news. 2 are convicted in a human smuggling attempt that left 53 dead in a hot semi-trailer incident in San Antonio. Two men were convicted for a human smuggling attempt that left dozens of people dead in San Antonio back in 2022. Felipe Orduna Torres, 30, Armando Ortega, 55, were convicted by a federal grand jury on one count of conspiracy to transport illegal aliens, resulting in death, resulting in serious bodily injury, and placing many lives in jeopardy. One count of transportation of illegal aliens, we try to say that fast 10 times, resulting in death, and one count of transportation of illegal aliens, resulting in serious bodily injury and placing lives in jeopardy. Didn't I say that? Officials say that Torres and Ortega were part of a human trafficking, I can't talk now, organization that loaded up 66 people into a semi without a functional cooling system and drove them from the Mexico border and on a Texas interstate. So they loaded them up in the back of the trailer and didn't turn the reefer on. And it's not right that they loaded them up to begin with, don't get me wrong. But, they didn't give a flip. All they wanted was the money. Torres and Ortega are scheduled for sentencing in June with the possibility of a maximum sentence of life in prison, which they should get. And they should get their illegals, they should get their butts deported. The driver of the truck, this Moro Jr. of Elkhart, pled guilty this last January to one count of conspiracy to transport aliens resulting in death, causing serious bodily injury and placing lives in jeopardy, and 1 count of transportation of aliens resulting in death, and 1 count of transportation of aliens resulting in serious bodily injury, placing lives in jeopardy. It's like it's redundant. How many counts was there? Just add them up. He's scheduled for sentencing here in April, so if I find that out, he could face the maximum penalty of life in prison. He needs to get the death penalty. Officials also announced that, or I can't even pronounce this name, the alleged leader of this Guatemala-based human trafficking organization will be extradited to the U.S. to face charges in connection with the mass casualty of this incident. So, yeah, they were arrested, they got a grand jury, and yeah. So, let's see what happens. And if you were up in Wisconsin, up in Sturtevant, you will know of this, I believe it's a TA. The Petro TA, that has the Blue Badger bar in it, bar and grill. They got bought by TA Corporate. So, let's see if the Blue Badger will stay in, still stay running, still stay open. It was a pretty cool place. It was upstairs of the building, and you had to walk up the steps. And when they brought the food, they had this wire basket on this kind of a cable that it came from the bottom little trailer kitchen deli area, and they put it in the basket and they zoomed it up to the bar, and then the bartender took it off the basket and then served it to you. Granted, everything is in recyclable to-go containers, but that's how you got your food. So it was pretty cool to see that. The Wilcom family announced the transfer of ownership of Wisconsin Truck Stop to a large travel center chain. There goes the neighborhood. They announced that the Racine Petro Truck Stop in Sturtevant, the TA Truck Service, and the Blue Badger Bar and Grill under new ownership of the TA Petro Corporation, effective back of March. Transfer of ownership allows Michael and Jim to focus on other businesses that they own. So they're sellouts. Allegedly. The Wilcom family owned and managed the truck stop since 1993. In 1999, they became a Petro franchise and added in the Iron Skillet restaurant and Petro Lube, and which is now the TA Truck Service. The Blue Badger Bar and Grill was added in 2020. They've served our customers on the corner of Highway 20 and I-94. We've been through many changes at this location. We want to thank you for your business and your support over the last 32 years. We will miss our employees, customers, and vendors that we're partnered with over the years, said Michael and Jim. Sell out! You're just a sellout to focus on other businesses. If you want to retire, say you want to retire. You know? Really? So they probably offered them enough money that they couldn't refuse. Honestly. Just saying. And I'm not going to show this video. There again, because of YouTube, algorithm. But if you look at the red circle on this photo, that is the driver trying to jump through the flames to get out of the burning truck. And that's all I'm going to say. He managed to leap over various very dangerous situation unscathed after crashing his truck and sparking a fire. This happened near Akron, Ohio, on I-77. He initially hit the median of the interstate, but soon pulled over to the shoulder of the road. The truck then caught fire. A lot of trucks catching fire lately. The impact also caused a rupture of the passenger side fuel tank, which also ignited that fuel. The truck driver was then caught on video throwing open the truck door, considering his options and doing his best to leap over the flames surrounding the cab. The Trucker's jump falls short, and the man then appears to just run straight through the flames before jogging to the rear of his trailer to regroup. And he did escape without injury. So that's a good thing. But, you know, shouldn't have hit the median to begin with. What'd you hit the median for, dude? And in this story, 8 semi-trucks were seized and 8 visa-holding drivers nabbed for cocaine smuggling. U.S. Customs and Border Protection seized hundreds of pounds of cocaine from multiple commercial vehicles passing through California port of entry over a 2-day period. This happened back March 4th and 5th. Otay Mesa Port of Entry, located in Otay Mesa, California, resulted in the apprehension of 8 visa-holding drivers and the seizure of multiple commercial semis. Officials seized more than 240 pounds of cocaine. So I'm not going to say on and on and on, you know. It goes into the details of the 8 cocaine seizures. But, yeah. So, I don't know where they had them or anything. But, good job, Border Patrol. Trying to run through. A truck driver intentionally drove past a road closed sign and got stuck in the switchbacks of a snow-covered highway. Brilliant! Just frickin' brilliant. California Highway Patrol issued a citation to a truck driver who allegedly ignored road closure signs and got stuck in the Lake Tahoe area. According to social media posts, commercial driver intentionally drove past the road closed signs and became stuck in the switchbacks in Emerald Bay. California Highway Patrol said the driver, excuse me, my nose itches, was cited and earned themselves a very hefty tow bill. They use the driver's bad day as a reminder to others that driving around a road closed sign is extremely dangerous and not to mention illegal. Numbnut. Yes, I'm going to say numbnut. Watch YouTube. Give me a strike for that kind of language. Oh no. I'm just saying, they could. And Kenworth is to discontinue several iconic models due to emissions regulations and component constraints. So, like the W9. Truckmaker Kenworth announced plans to sunset several popular models next year. They announced its decision to discontinue a project of the legacy 1.9 meter cab Class 8 trucks, including Kenworth's W9 and the W900L and the W900B models, the T800W and the C500. The company said the decision to discontinue production of these models is due to evolving emissions regulations and component constraints as the industry moves forward with new, more efficient, and better integrated technologies and products. How much you want to make a bet they want to go to electronic or electric trucks and self-driving trucks? How much you want to make a bet? We know these legacy Kenworth models are an integral part of our history here at Kenworth. We make the decision a difficult but necessary one as we enter the next era of trucking. I hate that language. You know, a final call for truck orders will be issued later this year, 2025, but dealers and customers are advised to place orders as soon as possible. So, yeah, they'll get inundated on orders for W9 and, you know, the 2 W9s. And this is that's in the picture. No more of that model. And Charlotte, North Carolina releases a new truck parking app as part of a quality of life project. And just a few more stories and it'll be a wrap for this episode. The city of Charlotte has released a new platform to help truckers find safe and legal parking in the region as a part of a new quality of life initiative. The commercial trucking Truck Parking Tool is a website and app designed to provide truck drivers with information on where to safely and legally park in the city of Charlotte. The platform offers drivers a way to search for available parking based on their current location or entered address. You could do that in Trucker Path. Outlines the city's truck parking regulations, includes fines and penalties for violating those rules, provides a heat map showing real-time hotspots for parking violations, high enforcement areas, and general commercial activity based on the area, and gives truck parking lot owners the ability to submit information about the facilities such as cost, amenities, security features, and ease of access. The City of Charlotte's Quality of Life team released the platform as a way to address illegal parking in the city, which was previously cited as a top priority for the community, and consistently a top concern in the trucking industry as a whole. That's in any big city. We always had a hard time finding parking. That was long before the doggone Trucker Path app came out. And traffic cams catch a semi colliding with stopped traffic on an Arkansas interstate. There again, you can Google it. I'm sure it's on YouTube. That the Arkansas Department of Transportation traffic cams captured a collision involving multiple semis that happened in St. Francis County back in the middle of March. Traffic cam video, you can see a semi-truck driver. He failed to stop for slow traffic on I-40, colliding with a second trailer and sending that truck forward to hit a bobtail truck. Local outlet reports that at least one person was injured and that hazmat was involved. Ooh, that'd be a heck of a cleanup. And in this story, there is officially no more overnight truck parking allowed in San Antonio. Sorry, this is a little bit late, but yeah. There again, this show is not just about traffic, not just about accidents. It's also about FMCSA regulations, Department of Transportation regulations, and where you can't park anymore within cities or new apps like I just mentioned that come out. So hopefully this show is informative to you as a new driver, seasoned driver, experienced driver. Please, let me know in the comments. If you like the show, please give it a thumbs up. So please subscribe and share this with everyone that you know that is a driver, or your husband, your boyfriend, your wife, your mother, father. I would greatly appreciate help getting the word out about the show, and also watching a lot of the weather. There's a lot of tornadoes coming into the area, so be careful of that as well. So back to the story. The city of San Antonio has officially approved an amendment to the city's code that will restrict semi-truck parking within the city limits. This is an attempt to amend the ordinance started about 3 years ago and was approved by the San Antonio City Council. According to the local news, semi-truck parking was already prohibited on residential streets, but the amendment will ban semi-trucks from parking within 1,000 feet of residential areas between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m., which means any business that is located in or around a residential area that you have to deliver to, you can't park there. You can't do your 10 anymore. You have to drive it in closer to your appointment time. The amendment allows exceptions from semi-trucks loading or unloading or making emergency repairs. The amendment also raises the fine for violating the ordinance from $35 to $500. The charge will go into effect April 19th, which is already in effect. Truckers will be allowed a 60-day warning period before any fines are issued, and citations will only be issued after 90 days. So, fines went into effect 90 days after the 19th. And this already passed by the city council. This change will go into effect, like I said, April 19th. And then you have citations only be issued after 90 days after that. So you're looking at June, the middle of June, before they issue any citations for that. And another Flying J truck stop burns to the ground with a Dennys restaurant inside. Now, I have some notes. Let me find my notes. When I was researching this story, I took some notes on how many Flying J's have burned to the ground with the Dennys inside. So the first one was March of 2016. Indianapolis, Indiana. A Flying J burns to the ground. The second one was Matthews, Missouri. Flying J, Dennys inside. June of 2018, burns to the ground. The next one was December 2022. San Antonio, Flying J with the Dennys, burns to the ground. This last one is March 25th in Anthony, Texas. This Flying J with the Dennys inside burns to the ground. So it is within 4 Flying J's with Dennys in the last 9 years have burned to the ground around the country. 2 of them in Texas. 1 in Missouri, 1 in Indiana. What does that tell you? That's a lot of doggone money. Grease fires? They're supposed to have the grease traps cleaned out. Supposed to have the grill cleaned out. Supposed to be using that overhead hood vent. Supposed to be cleaning that out. What's going on? I have no idea. So as always, thank you so much for joining me this week on Julia's Truckin' Cafe Truckin' News Hour. I greatly appreciate all of your time and your continued listening and support of the show. If you wouldn't mind watching this on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe button. I also ring the bell so you also have notifications of when I drop another show. Again, I'm working 12-hour days, 60 hours lately weeks. That's going to change at my job, so I'll be able to do more episodes and consistent, trying to do it at least 1 a week and be more consistent. Please also like our Facebook page at Julia's TRCKN Cafe on Facebook. I also drop when I'm going to have one scheduled. Today was just impromptu. Try to do it on Saturdays. A lot of people like between 8 and 9 p.m. on Saturdays. I'm trying to find a good day that everybody will watch. Everybody will jump on the live stream with me. And please, leave your comments. Do you like it? You don't like it? You find it boring? It's not going to be funny. That's the whole thing. This show is serious. It's a serious show. I'm not a comedian. I try to be a comedian in real life, but trucking to me is a serious business. And it's not, there's tons and tons and tons of channels that have a bunch of laughter and this kind of thing. I want my show to be informative, so you learn something. So you look at going, oh my God, this happened, that happened, or, thank goodness you let me know about, the weather or the news. Now, I will drop that there is a good, besides weather channel, on YouTube. There's a young man that's going to college for a meteorologist. And in 2 weeks, he's going to be graduating. He has his channel called Max, M-A-X, Velocity. I will leave a link to it in the description on YouTube. But it's Max Velocity. He has storm chasers sharing videos with him about all the tornadoes. there a few weeks, 2-3 weeks back, maybe a month back in March, we had up to 30-40 tornado warnings in this state, from Tupelo, Mississippi, across to Jackson and south. It was nuts. One town got hit 4 different times in one night. It was just crazy, crazy, crazy. So it's called Max, M-A-X, Velocity, on YouTube. Please watch his channel. Please like and subscribe to him. He's a young man who's starting out in the meteorology business. So he's got already millions of subscribers. I just have a few thousand. But he has thousands of people watching his shows. And sometimes he was up, how the heck did he say it? He did 60 hours worth of weather in 8 days. It was just nuts. So please like and subscribe to his channel. Please like and subscribe to this one. Ring the notification bell so that you'll get notified every time I do a video. So please keep the shiny side up. And until next time.